Hi, I'm John Arana, and we are at the Drop with Karina San Martin.
Hey guys, what's
and
up?
we are from the Oasis Church, and we are
Yeah.
just encouraged that you are here today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're continuing this series of difficult questions that people have asked us, and we're trying to answer to give you some good feedback and some good biblical perspective is what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah.
how you been? How you been?
Doing good. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything that's new and exciting in my life.
Well, Christmas
Is here.
obviously.
Yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to tell you this, but
Mhm.
since we moved, we moved to a one-story house.
Right.
We've we've only had 3 houses, but they've always been 2 stories.
Right.
So doing like the lights around the edges was just kind of always out of the question
Tough.
unless you pay somebody,
Right.
So
Yeah.
of course during Christmas time, us personally, we're like,
Yeah.
do we really want to pay somebody to do lights? Not right now. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I was looking and I was like, you know what? I think I can do it.
Oh my God.
And,
no.
and I was watching people,
No.
like, the neighborhood people that
No
get
way.
paid.
Really?
So I'd be like kind of
You
watching them
looking?
and I'm like, it doesn't look that hard. You just got to get the right stuff,
Okay.
So long story short,
Okay.
I got the lights, I got the clips.
Get
I,
outta
had a couple
here.
little hiccups here and
Oh,
there,
yeah?
but so I put lights on our house.
On the edge?
Yes, and
Oh,
I know. I told
man.
Mom, and she was like, "Karina," because she thought I got on the roof,
Right,
which I
right,
didn't.
right.
I had a big ladder, and I am so proud of my lights. I can't wait for
Oh,
you
my
to see
gosh.
them.
So now
And
you can teach me how to
I
do
can
it.
teach you how to do it. Yeah, once you know how to do it, and
'Cause
like
we-
anything,
We have a one-story house also,
Yeah,
so
like-
that'll be fun.
like anything, once you know how to do it,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh. But
Well,
I'm
see,
very proud.
The challenge is you doing that puts pressure on me now.
No.
Because, Mom's going to say, hey, if Karina can do it, come on, John.
Well, I would love to help.
I'm like, okay,
Oh, my gosh.
we could try it next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah, we're not ready for that. But anyways, so that was kind of fun.
That
but
is good.
Yeah,
That
we're
is good.
getting excited for everything coming up.
Well, our lights are all on the
bushes.
On the bushes,
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, man, that's a good place to live too.
Kept it simple,
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm excited to just continue on with our Q&As.
Yeah.
So today's question that we're going to talk about is, how can we discipline our children without becoming legalistic?
Wow. That's
Which I think is a really
huge.
great question.
Huge.
Not always easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's a very relevant question, whether you have kids or not.
Yeah.
If you're listening, probably a lot of you do have kids. Maybe some of you don't. But this will definitely be good to just kind of shelf back in your mind. For when you do have kids, because this is an important topic.
And as a grandfather, I think that this is also a great question because you're part of the extended family helping raise kids.
Right.
As a grandparent, and so I think this is also applicable to grandparents as well. And I think
100%,
this is a great question because it's such a fine line, between, raising your child, teaching them, manners, teaching them etiquettes, teaching them, all the way from
Just how to be a good person.
holding a fork, holding a knife, not talking with your mouth full at the table,
Right.
Sitting upright, and you think like there's so much.
Right.
How do you not sound like
you're always like, don't do this.
like
don't do
you're
that.
always on their case?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big challenge, and I think that I personally, not sure I always handle that properly. I come from a family where there was a lot of rules, and because again, they were trying to teach us, hey, this is how you do things. But 9 times out of 10, you're not doing it right.
Right.
Because you're in training.
And that's why there's a conversation to be had in the first place, because you're not doing it right.
At all times.
Right.
So I don't know. What's your take on it?
Man, I think...
You got 3 kids.
Yeah, we have 3 kids, and, which...
You have one going through preteens.
Yes, she's in preteen, starting, the puberty stuff, and, emotions are flaring, like a roller coaster, and, So it's like, first of all, and those of us who have kids, we all know each kid is so different.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it's kind, and then they don't come with a manual when they're birthed. It's not like this kid needs this. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that we are currently learning about parenting is, I think, well, I guess I can speak for myself, is the value of grace.
Yeah.
And because it also shows them an aspect of God that
I like that.
That they are also just beginning to experience the concept of God and who, in their own connection with God. Right. Yeah. They're growing up and they've been hearing about God and all of that, but I think they're starting to step into that, like, well, who is God to me? Sure. Do I know him? That's right. I feel him? And we are examples of that. We can be. But then also not being afraid to admit when you are wrong as a parent.
That's right.
Because that shows them that there is space to mess up, which they do. Yeah. And also we as parents do. Yeah. I mean,
I think that was something that I had to learn because, as we were growing up, I never really heard my parents apologize, because they come from a different generation, and so, you think, well, if I apologize, that's going to weaken my leadership in front of my children, Sure. But in reality, when you apologize, it actually raises the value of your leadership, because when parents are not willing to apologize, kids are thinking, man, this guy doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Right. I'm really in danger here.
Yeah, because they know.
They know. They know. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good principle to be transparent, to be real. Yeah. And to, when the moment merits it, be willing to admit and accept responsibility for your mistakes. I think that's one really good one.
It's good, and it's big because I think it creates a safety and an understanding for the children to feel like it's okay to be a real person. Yeah. Like my parents aren't expecting me to be perfect, to do it all right. And I learned this one principle that's always stood out to me really strongly when I was going to school to be a youth pastor. Yeah. Which I was for about 10 years. And one of the biggest things that I learned with dealing with teenagers, and this goes for parenting too, but it said, my professor said, rules without relationship breeds rebellion.
I like that. I like that.
And that just like got ingrained in my heart because obviously working with teenagers, that is like the core of the issues. Yeah. But with parenting, I think this is a big issue too. Yeah. A lot of parents, I think, kind of miss out sometimes on that relationship aspect.
Yeah. They don't invest time.
Right.
They're so busy.
Right. And it's hard. Yeah. It's not easy. I catch myself sometimes being like, you know what? The dishes don't matter. The laundry doesn't matter. I'm going to stop everything. Yeah. And, because I work, know, and I do things, and I'm going to stop everything, and I'm going to go outside and play ball with my son. Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to spend time with him. I'm going to build relationship with him. Because then when the time comes to need instruction or to need correction, there's a bond that's been cultivated.
There's a balance there also.
That goes beyond like, you're just my parent because you birthed me into the world. Right. To, okay, hold on, we actually have a relationship. Yeah. And I want to hear you because I know you love me.
Yeah, the level of trust goes way up.
It does.
When you're in relationship.
It really does. And I remember experiencing that with you. Yeah. Of course, Mom too. But I think during our teenage years, you were a little more prevalent in that area because I think, that Mom was real great with the younger ages. Right. And then now that we're adults. But the teenage years, I think, was challenging for her. But,
they were,
But I remember you making time for us. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing as a kid that stood out to me more than rules or instruction.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember one time I told our assistant, block out this day for Sheila, black out this day for Karina, and black out this day for Tiffany. I'm going to have lunch with them.
That's cool.
Okay? And I remember coming home and telling you, you guys, listen, I made an appointment to have lunch with every one of you on a regular basis. And I remember Tiffany, you know, because she was always the lawyer type. And she's like, oh, I'm an appointment now. So now I'm an appointment?
Now I'm a scheduled appointment.
And I looked at her and I said, it's because you're so important, I don't want anybody to take your time. Yeah. And she was like, oh. Okay. So it's a different spin, you know? But I think you hit on a second really, really super important, which is spending time. Yeah. And you know, there's so many parents that don't connect with that. So many parents that don't get it. So many fathers that don't get it. And they don't realize that spending time with your child on a one-on-one covers a multitude of sins. Covers a multitude of, you know, mistakes and so on and so forth. And I think that is a huge one. And I think that if parents would just primarily focus on that, you know, and then the first one we said, focus on accepting responsibility when you blow it. Focus on investing time one-on-one with your kids, even if it's, hey, let's go get an ice cream. Or whatever. Let's go watch a movie together, you know. There are things, and doing things that they are interested instead of things that I'm interested, you know. And I think that's huge. The other one that I think is rewarding your kids even at times when they don't deserve it. And I think that goes to the first point that you were talking about, grace. You know, because I thought if I want my kids to feel God's love, then how are they going to get that? They're going to get that from me. We are the image of God to our children. And so there are times when kids don't deserve a reward. But there are times that you need to give it to them so that they experience the concept of mercy and grace. And they also experience the concept that I don't have to be perfect to be blessed. I don't have to be perfect for my father or my mother to do something good for me. And that begins to give them an understanding of the heart of God.
Oh, definitely. And I think something that that I am learning, because, you know, as you stated before, we have Evie who's in like that preteen stage, that sometimes it's just really annoying to have to explain things, you know, because you just want to be like, just do it. It's what I said. Just do it. Don't question me. I am the mother. Who are you to even ask or question?
But why?
You know, who are you? Why? Like, how did you wake up one day and
I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
Like, who even said that was okay? Who are you? You know, but I'm having to learn to stop myself and be like, okay, we're framing her as a person. And even though it's irritating to
That's not a one-time thing.
It is not.
No.
You know, I want to explain this moment to her so that she understands beyond do it because I said so.
Right.
So that when she's in this moment again, she can stand in that moment and say, what should I do? Sure. Because I learned this and I learned that. And now what should I do now?
I think that's when you have taken it to the next level from us. You know, because I came from a mentality that kids don't talk back. You know? And I remember Sheila having a conversation with me, our oldest daughter, your oldest sister, and saying, but Dad, you didn't give me a lot of opportunities to talk back and to talk. And I'm like, I know, but that's what I was taught. I was taught kids don't talk back. And in a way, you kind of shut people down and you don't give them an opportunity to articulate themselves and have a good conversation. Now that could be taken to the extreme,
Sure.
and then your kids are always thinking that they can argue with you.
Yeah, it's
So
got to be balanced with everything.
Delicate
yeah,
balance,
everything.
you know. But I think you've taken it to the next level. I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think being, for me, one of the biggest things about it becomes legalistic. Parenting becomes legalistic, I think, when there's a lack of relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where I think is the biggest thing, and we've talked about that. But just to kind of go back to the core of this question, I think, man, if you're having a hard time with one of your kids and you feel like you're leaning towards this legalistic, like, do it because I said so, listen to me because I said so.
Evaluate.
Just stop and go take them out.
That's right.
And talk to them and find out how they're doing.
Yep.
Don't talk to them about anything that's wrong with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
have a good relational conversation.
Cultivate the relationship.
Dr. Cole, Ed Cole, my spiritual father, used to say, when there's a lot of law, it's because there's little love.
That's so good.
And when there's a lot of love, there's little law.
There's got to be little law.
And I thought, like, oh, man, God help me. Help me to do that with my kids, you know, because you start realizing there's so much to teach them. There's so much that you want to put into them so that they can grow up to be, you know, healthy human beings. And sometimes we just can go overboard and not create a good balance. But I think we hit on some good things, you know.
Very
grace,
good.
you know, being transparent, accepting responsibility, you know, balance out, you know, the rules with love, invest time. I think these are critical ingredients to be able to raise your kids, train them in the ways that they should go, and yet, you know, prevent from being legalistic.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing because it just popped into my head, is be willing to grow with your kids.
Oh, man.
You know, like the phases,
That's a good one.
you have to change how you parent. And that was one of the biggest pieces of advice I gave out all the time when I was a youth pastor. And I would have to tell people, look,
that's right.
They're not a kid anymore. You in your head, they're a kid.
Yeah, because they always, in your mind, they're always a kid.
They're a kid. But like what worked with your kid when they were 7 is not going to work when they're 13.
That's right.
And you're going to have to adjust and grow.
That's right.
So that the issues, you know, can be worked out and ironed out and grow together. Yeah.
I remember when you guys, you know, were starting to grow and you know, learn how to drive and everything.
Oh my gosh.
And you guys would say, you know, can I borrow the car? You know, and I'm like, no way.
Not my car.
No way,
I don't know what you're going to do in my car.
You know, and you guys would say, yeah, but I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I remember the dating thing and boys, you know, and I would be like, yeah, but I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
And then I started realizing, man, I gotta grow. This is not just about raising kids. Ready. This is about me also growing.
I can't just keep saying I'm not ready.
At some point, I have to be ready. So, that's a good point that you brought up, Karina.
Yeah.
You know, parents have to grow also.
We do.
You can't just say, hey, I'm having kids and that's it. You know, and put all the pressure on the kids.
Oh.
You know, and I think that's a good point. But anyhow,
Yeah.
I hope this has been helpful. We're here at the Drop. I'm John, Arana, Karina San Martin. We're here at the Drop, dropping truth and bringing life. And we hope that this has encouraged you and helped you out in some ways.
Yeah.
All right?
We'll see you guys here next week.
See you next time.